Good morning, everybody. It is Friday morning at 10, and I am live. And, it's a dreary, rainy day today, but tomorrow is supposed to be really nice, and that's good because tomorrow is the Illinois Marathon. And for those of you who've been watching me for a while, you know the Illinois Marathon goes right by my house, and so usually it's pretty noisy first thing in the morning with all of the crowds going through. And so we just have a bunch of neighbors who go out and cheer on the people who run the marathon. And last year it was so rainy and dreary, I didn't even go outside. I mean, I would have needed more than an umbrella. It was really bad. And I did notice watching from my backyard, the people go by that, there were fewer runners last year. The weather was just awful, which is sad because people train for that for so long. And anyway, so the marathon tomorrow, and Steve is at the racetrack, and so I just go out with the neighbors and have fun. Anyway, so that leaves me a little time to play, and today I thought I would use the Poppin By set. Now, this set is not available quite yet. It will be available on May 6th. It is an online exclusive, so it's not in the new catalog. Oh, speaking of that, can you guys let me know if you've received your catalogs yet? I really want to see how long it takes and if everybody gets them. If you are one of my customers and you have not received one, definitely let me know. I want to know how well that works. It should be arriving. A lot of people received theirs last week. And it's just, it's an interesting thing. Close to My Hearts was always like that too, where it was kind of like, a few people would say they never got one. I don't know. It has to be posted the way the postage works. Anyway, okay. So here we go. Poppin' By. This is the cutest set. It's the very first thing that caught my eye out of all the new stuff. And I immediately put it on my list. I bought it early. And I'm really excited. So the stamp set is basically what you see. The only disappointment I have is that they have little faces. I wish I had the option to put a face on. I don't necessarily want faces on all my popcorn. I'm not a child. I use the popcorn set, but I'm like, I don't know how I feel about the popcorn. But it's because of the dies, the way the dies are made, you can, make your own popcorn. I'm going to show you how to do that today because it is pretty cool. And I want to show you how I made this card right here. So on the inside, I put a little, jiggler with a little dancing guy on the inside, but today I'm going to do another little card using him. But I want to show you how I made the front of this. And so let's get going because, gosh, I know you don't have all day like I do. I have all day. Today I'm going to tackle my, I am totally going to tackle my ribbon closet. It's like booby trapped. It's like when you open it up, all of a sudden there's like ribbon falling out on you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make popcorn. One thing I've noticed in making the popcorn is that if you, like here, I started with white and I just sponged on yellow, and it helps it to make it look more real if you make it different colors and like it has butter. So I got a yellow out, like crushed curry would be good. This time I'm using an off-white paper instead of a white paper. You can see the difference there. And I'm basically just going to pat and smudge yellow all over. And what that does is it makes it mottled so that when you cut your popcorn, it will turn out kind of a mottled look. So let me just, I'm going to cut it once. I pre-cut popcorn, so you don't have to watch me cut all this popcorn, but I want to show you how these dies work a little bit. Okay, so basically this is kind of cool. So there, you can just make plain popcorn, right? Just plain. Or there's these little dies like this that have lines in them that don't cut all the way through, and you just lay them inside. And there's no like way you have to do it. Like you don't have to like get it all perfect or rearrange it so it's dead center or anything. All it does is add these little lines to your popcorn. So it doesn't really matter if it's like, you know, perfectly centered. The main thing is to make sure they don't overlap each other. Like you wouldn't want to run it through your machine with your dies on top of each other. It might damage them. But, you know, really, this is a pretty simple idea. And on the card that I made, I tried to make a few without any indents in them. I'm just gonna pop these through here. And just made, you know, just plain popcorn pieces. And those look really good too. It's nice to have a variety of both. The other thing that I was playing with, I'll show you here. This is really crazy. But I thought, I bet I can make caramel corn. And so I got out like a light tan paper and see how that is? Look at that. Isn't that cool? And it like cuts, but it doesn't cut anything out in terms of, like it won't, I don't know how, I mean, you know, it cuts through, but it doesn't, just cuts lines in it to make it look like it has texture. Anyway, so I got out this paper. It's, what did I use? Like crumb cake or something. And crumb cake's the wrong color, right? It's the wrong color. It's brown, and caramel corn's kind of golden. And so then I took an orangey ink, and I can't remember the name of it, but an orange, and I sponged over it, trying to make it look like caramel corn. And I think the ones that are more golden, like have more ink on them, look more real. But again, I think it looks more real to have all the variety. So if you were going to put this in a pile on a card, like if I was going to do this card all caramel corn, for example, you know, I think it really helps to have the lights and the darks together so that you're, you know, you've got that like variety of color. Not brown though. You see what I mean? See how it looks more real if you have like both models. Okay, set that aside. And here's my popcorn. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a card base that's long and skinny, top folding. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, and you score it in the center. And I just made a top folding card because it's different. You don't have to. I just thought that was a nice thing to do. And then you can see here that I put a black background on. And then I made this popcorn bucket. Now, the popcorn buckets are, you know, typically red and white or a stripe. And so I just thought that would be, sorry, I'm rearranging my space here. I thought I'd show you how to do that. Now, so what I did, this is an interesting and weird thing. basically what I did was I was like, well, I want it approximately the bottom, you know, 2/3. I want the popcorn bucket to fill my card. So I'm going to make a little mark, you know, approximately where I want it to start and where I want it to end. And then I'll show you. I'll get out my trimmer and I'll show you what I did here. So if I just trim from corner to corner or mark to mark, and that's my scrap, this is going to be approximately what I do with my popcorn bucket. So I'm just going to start at the corner and just start making strips. Now that's scrap, but every strip from here on will be part of my bucket. So I'm just gonna, I'm keeping this corner down here. You'll notice I'm only moving it maybe 1/4 inch, but up here, it's like 1/2 inch. So I'm tilting, scooch that off, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the next stripe, about 1/4 inch, about 1/2 inch, you know, it's very approximate. I'm obviously the main thing is to keep them somewhat in order, because once you have all these strips, it's like a puzzle. So I'm just, again, like 1/4 inch here, like 1/2 inch at the top, and I'm just cut. And you'll notice I'm not too careful, not at all. And so some of them are really wide, some of them are really narrow. You choose. And kind of move that. And then the very last piece, I'm just going to put the corner at the top and just kind of there. All right. And then I'm just going to put these on here. There you go. There's how I made my popcorn bucket. So let me see if I have a panel here. All right. So this is just a scrap piece of my cardstock. It's a card panel. A lot of times I just have 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panels sitting in my scrap bin so that I can just grab one. It doesn't matter as long as your strips fit on it. You're going to cut it anyway. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my strips and I'm just going to put them on like this. And do you see how I'm leaving white in the middle? Now, the fact is, I haven't tried it, but I probably could. I probably could make all my stripes just plain strips if I wanted to. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like angled necessarily. I just did it because when I was envisioning what I wanted, it helped me figure it out. Okay. And I'm going to keep going, even though I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to cut this down and you're going to be like, you're cutting off all of your work. Why did you do that? But so now I have this weird angle stripes, but what I wanted out of it is I wanted stripes that started like a V that went out like this. So now when I cut it, it'll make more sense. I'll get out my trimmer for this. I wouldn't have to use a trimmer. I could just use my scissors. Basically, I want a top of the bucket and then I want it to angle down because, I want it that's just how I want it to look. So I'm going to cut this part off, and that gives me like the top of my bucket. And then I'm gonna start somewhere here and make an angle, and you can decide how big of an angle you want that to be. The sharper your angle, the weirder the popcorn looks. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And then then to make the rest of it, I want this and this to be the same, okay? So I'm basically just, if you see, I'm just gonna cut, I'm using my scissors because I think it'll be easier for you to see. So this and this are parallel to each other. And then I'm just gonna cut my bucket where I want it to end and do a little angle. Do you see that? And so when you go to your card base, clean off my mess. When you go to your card base after that, you can see how it looks. You can decide great, bad, whatever. And you can put it on, you can, put it onto your card however you want it to look. I kind of like that. And so I'm not going to put, I want to put a black panel on. Just a sec. I don't have my black panel cut. So let me grab that. I'm going to just cut that at 4 by 5 1/4. And I want that like that. And then I'm going to put this on here and trim. I'll trim it in a minute. Okay. Now I should have probably, before I took my black cardstock off, I should have trimmed, or should have done this before. And I put it upside down. See, this is sometimes not cool to use liquid glue, because I don't know if that would have allowed me to do this or not. Okay, so I'm just trimming the excess off. And I'm going to turn my card the right side. Now I can use my glue and put that on. Isn't it cute? Now I can make popcorn. So now on this card, when I made it, I think I made it so that I could tuck in around the edges of the popcorn. So I intentionally did not put adhesive kind of near this top edge. And I pre-made a whole bunch of popcorn because I thought that would be fun. And then basically I'm just gonna start tucking into my popcorn bin. And you don't want them all right side up, right? You don't want to put them all like a row. You want them to be kind of wonky and different because that's how it looks in real life, right? So I'm grabbing different pieces, and some of them I'm putting, a lot of them I'm putting flat. Let me see what I got here. So I think this is super cute. That. And then I'm going to get out some dimensionals because I really want to put a few of them popped up. All right. I don't know where my regular dimensionals are, but so I'm gonna basically put foam like they're coming up, and you know, and I don't want them all popped up because that would be, it might look weird. Just a few, just a few. Let's see, if I put this one, I think I need a flat one back there. Cover up some of that black space. There we go. And then this one. And then I think I'll put one more on the top. Now, this would be really fun to do like one of those jigglers and make your popcorn jiggle. And I thought about that, you know, after I was done. Okay, so that card took like no time, right? Really, no time. It's so easy. And I kept thinking that my popcorn needed something. And so I got out my stickles. If you have like yellow colored shimmer or something, I think that would work. But I just put a little bit of stickles around some of those little lines just to make it, I don't know, pop a little better. And then one of the stamps in the set is the word pop. And so I just stamped on it and embossed in white. And I love this popping in to say hello. No one's better than you. Isn't that adorable? And then look at this little guy. He's so cute. So that is my first card. And I wanted to show you that because it really is quick and easy. And if you really want to add more dimension to it, like I did here, you can see I added like a black line. It's pretty easy to take like one of your scraps or whatever and, you know, make that corner of your bucket so that it looks like the edge. Let's see. And then you could even outline the tops and outline your bucket a little bit. All of that you could do before you adhered it if you wanted to. But I do think that that adds a little bit to it. Every little detail that you add like that adds to it. Now, Stampin' Up! Many years ago had a popcorn set. I have no idea what year it was. I bought it at Daisy Lane, and it has the little circle on it that says pop, like popcorn, really, and that might label your bucket. You could do something like that with your punches or whatever. Anyway, I think that's adorable. Okay, now I have an idea for a second card that I don't know. I haven't thought it through fully. I have an idea of what I want to do. And so you're going to come with me for the ride and we'll see how it works. So I want to make a card using this little dude. And I want it to be like retro looking, like black and white. So I got out my little tray and I want him to be like, I want like 3 of them, like dancing, like across the screen, like when you go to the drive-in and they have those, you know, they have those little ads or whatever. Gosh, intermission. It's hard. Words are hard, man. Okay, so I want to show you the stamps. Now here is the other little weird quirky thing about this stamp set. Not only do all the popcorn have smiles, and that might actually work on this card because, you know, I'm trying to make it like an intermission kind of thing, and I'll bet that's what they were thinking when they made it. So, but the little popcorn guy and the popcorn is all one stamp, okay? It comes like this. And I know myself that I will always, always make the popcorn a different color than the box. It will always be white or yellow, and the box will always be a color. And so when I was looking at this, I was thinking, I need to separate that. And so I got out my scissors and I did a little stamp surgery. And so I made it into 2 stamps instead of 1 because I know, this is scary business doing stuff like this. But you know what? I will never use the set if I have to futz around with doing marker on this part and I'll just never use it. I just won't. Or if I have to stamp it twice in 2 different colors and cut it out and then re-piece it together in 2 different colors, I just know I'll never do it. I just won't. So this is what, this is how I'm doing it this time. Anyway, I want to make it black and white. So I am doing this popcorn in black because I figured that'll stand out the most. And it'll be interesting. I have to it'll be interesting because I cut this out. I cut this out before. Let's see how close I am. I cut out 4 of them because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to line this up without photopolymer. It's so much easier when you have a clear stamp that you're lining up. But I'm going to try. And then I'll pick the 3 best. And you know what? If they're not perfect, they're not perfect. Such is life. So let's see. All right. Oh, look at me. I did not do too terrible, did I? And one of the things, when I'm messing around with stuff like this, if I screw it up, let's just say I really botched it or something, all I do, like this one is off. I just take my scissors and cut it like this. And look, it doesn't look off anymore. I just, you know what I mean? Like you can just cut the excess white away and it fixes a lot of the, what you think of as a botch up. You just kind of trim it down. It's still easier than paper piecing it together. Anyway, what I would normally do, honestly, is stamp this and then I would cut it out after. But since I was doing this, okay, now I've chosen a gray. I'm choosing a light gray. Now the butter. Let's see how I do with the butter. This should be interesting. So, let me see how close it is to the top. This is the other problem I have with when I use red rubber stamps. Sometimes that big edge around there really makes it hard to line it up. And so sometimes when I trim my stamps up like this, I make one side close to the image and straight. For example, let me just show you, like this message right here. I probably will take my scissors and I will take this and I will cut it straight at the bottom, perfectly straight with the words. Because, let me just get it off of here. Now you don't want to curve your blade while you're cutting, you want it straight across. But if I cut this straight across with the words, I will always be able to line my words up straight. As long as I always keep this line that I know is straight, not the words that look there, but the cut that I made right there. If I make that cut straight with the edge of the card, my words will always be straight. I do that all the time with these cling stamps so that I always know if I want to, if I don't want my words wonky and I want to do, you know, one of those stamps direct to my card, which is always scary with a cling set. Then one edge of, so what I did here is, because there's very little space between the popcorn bucket and here, I really followed the line of the popcorn. That way, when I line it up, I am lining up that bottom edge directly with the top of my popcorn, and I'll know it'll always be straight like that. Okay, I'm not guessing, you know, I'm not sitting there going, oh, it could go up, it could go down, I could move this, you know, I'm not guessing. I know that edge is straight, so it's going to be fine. All right, that's my tip of the day. And now I have all these little popcorn men. Now, while those dry for a minute, I'm going to try to do a card here. I'm going to do a black card base. This is just, you know, A2 card base. I'm going to set that aside for a sec. And then what I want to do is a panel that'll be like on the card base, and it'll have the dancing men, but I want them to be in a spotlight. So my little men will be dancing here. I'm just going to use 3, I think. They'll be dancing here, and I need a spotlight coming down on them. Okay, that means I need to make, I'm going to make a little spotlight card. I'm going to add a little spotlight to them. So I want it to come down here and here, and then just go down to the edge of my card. Whoa, you're like, oh my gosh. Okay, so the first thing is I need a mask. And so I have, like, whenever I print something on my printer, I grab all the duds or the ones that aren't as good. And I'm just going to put that here. And I use them as scratch paper. And we want the background to be pretty dark because it would be like a theater, right? It would be dark. Okay, let me just grab my little silicone mat so I can hold my ink while I'm going to use a dark gray. I'm going to start on my paper, and I'm going to make circles out. And I want it to be pretty dark, so I'm not worried necessarily about the amount of ink on my brush. I just don't want to get a big splotch, because splotches on here are they're very hard to clean out. You have to do a lot of inking to get rid of a splotch. All right. And now I'm going to flip around. Oh, look how cool that looks. All right, it looks like I moved my paper. Let me do a little. See, now you're going to see this is the same as like having a splotch. It's like getting that harsh line out of there is work, and you have to add a lot of ink to do it. So, all right, but good enough. Okay, it'll work. It will work. Okay, now I'm going to do this side. I'm going to start at my little mark and go to the corner, try to hold it better. I could tape it, you know. It's like I'm such a lazy person when I craft. And now I have to make this side equally dark to the other side, right? And then just to add a little more, I'm going to add some black also. Tape is your friend. Okay. All right. So I have this gray, And then I am going to grab black, and I'm going to do the same thing with black, but I'm going to start at the outside edge and go towards my spotlight, because the outside edge would be where it really is like the darkest, right? All right. See how that gives me a little dimension. It's like blacker here and then a little gray there. It's hard to see on camera, but there you go. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'll line up my scratch paper, sorta, kinda. See if I can do it right this time. Hold it hard. Outside. I'm gonna pick up from my glass mat. Pick up some of this ink. All right. All right. Ta-da. Okay, so that's kind of what I had in mind for a spotlight. Gotta clean up my mess. I have water and my old microfiber cloth. Any cloth would work, but I have one that I've been using, like, I don't know, for like 2 years now. I probably will get a new one soon because they start turning really black and I just never wash them. All right, so here's my thought. We have our little guys and they're gonna be dancing. And normally I would make like a little stage, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these little film strips across the bottom, like a border. So I'm going to use my tweezers. You don't see me do that very often because I'm not exactly adept. I know that if the more you use tweezers, the easier it gets. I know that's true. I'm going to use my block. Just put that on there while I get the next one ready. Let's see. And I'm just gonna put a little glue around the edges. And I'll put that on there. And get the next one. This one's got 2. I'll tell you what, these little film strip things on this set are so cute. But they're futzy. I mean, they're futzy. So getting those little dots out of your die after you cut it, you really do need like a brush. I don't know. Do you guys have those brushes? Any of those kind of, I think the Pick-a-Tool has a brush. You really need something like that. I remember when I first started doing these die cuts things, and I had an old school hairbrush that I had found at a garage sale that I used for a long time. It was like one of those, remember those black wiry ones that, you know, like your mom used to use on your hair? I feel like I need another to make it go on. Pain. It's a pain. But I'm gonna do it. All right. Just like that. Okay. All right. The other thing while that's drying is I kind of wondered whether these would need some shading or some shadow or something. And the way it's stamped, I'm not sure that I need it. I thought I'm going to try it though, because I'm just dabbing on a little marker here and there, thinking, will it make it look more dimensional? Do I need it? I don't know. What do you guys think? Over the top, stupid? I don't know. Like, what? Yeah, and I don't think I need it on the popcorn buckets either. I thought I might need some, you know, shading on these, but I don't think I do. But what I do want to do is I want to make one of them wiggle. So I got out my jigglers. You know, these little, what are they called? Action wobblers. And I had a video a while back where I made my own. And I like to save money. So making my own is a fun thing. I mean, for me, I'm all about not spending all the money. So, okay. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Let's go ahead and put this panel on the card. I could put a little tiny gray around the edge. I'm not sure. I don't think I need it. This is really, I'm pretty happy with this. I can't believe I'm saying it. All right. This is pretty close to what I envisioned in my head. Okay, fold at the top. Yes, Connie, do it right side up this time. And let's see if we can get that somewhat straight. And then I'm going to put these little guys like they're dancing in the spotlight. And then I have to peel off this action wobbler. Easier said than done. I should use a tool, shouldn't I? Ah, so annoying. Instead of my nails. There. Just need to get the edge of that. So annoying. There we go. All right. And then we have our dancy guy. Push that down. Oh, I love that. Should we add a message? Enjoy. Oh, wouldn't that be cute? This would be adorable for like putting gift cards for the movies. I love this little pop word though. I feel like I have to use it. And I could kind of randomly put it like I did on my other card, or I could put it inside of the gosh, I think I will. I think I'm going to put it on the inside of the little film strips. So again, you can see I trimmed I trimmed my piece to be straight at the bottom of my word. And that way I know no matter how it looks on this side, if I make that piece straight, I will have it exactly where I want it to be. And so I can line that up. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. That is cute. I think I'm going to use my popping in to say hello. This one I haven't done any trimming on because so far I've only used it on scrap paper. And I think I might do that on a strip. I don't know if I want it on white. Do I want it on white? I don't know about that. But I definitely want black ink. I'm off camera. Sorry. I'm inking up my stamp and hoping for the best. And then I'm going to trim this down. I really feel like that might be a little fat. I should use my trimmer for this because this is like risky business whenever you do this to a message, right? And then I kind of feel like I need, do I need a little of that gray? That's possible. Let me grab it if I can find it. Yeah, I like that. All right, one of my tricks to making these bigger or stand out without using dimensionals and having to cut them all down is to use, I have a ton of scraps of paper, and I just saw this online. I think Jennifer McGuire showed it, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. And so I've been doing that ever since. And basically you just cut out 2 or 3 of the same image or the strip. And then what happens is you get some dimension on it without having to use a super thick . There we go. Ta-da. And then that's why I keep all these little strips in my scrap bin next to me so that I can do this. I just think this is sweet, sweet, sweet. And I'm just going to trim it. And I'm going to put that at the top. Gosh, that's cute. Ta-da! There's my card. Oh my gosh, I think that's adorable. And I like that it's sort of black and white. I think it could have looked even cuter if I maybe put, made this panel even smaller, more tight. I may make another one to do that. I don't know. But anyway, so there are our cards today, and I hope you love them. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye.